Everyone, it is that time of the week of which you always hear me say, and I always say I'm not going to say it, but you know what? I'm going to quit saying I'm not going to say it because it is my favorite time of the week. And if I didn't say it, you guys would wonder what was going on. Okay. It is my favorite time of the week. Being Brown at Work Live. And you can already see I have another phenomenal woman that I was blessed to connect with. And we're going to get right into this because what she has to share is something we haven't talked about in the couple of years I've been doing this live, right? I mean, we've not talked about what it looks like when you report to someone that looks like you, right? You're a black and brown woman and you report to somebody that looks like you. We hadn't talked about it because it doesn't happen often. But when it does happen, we want to kill some misconceptions. We want to shift some mindsets around that, and we want to calibrate you for success. So let's dig right into this. I'm going to introduce you to yet this phenomenal woman. I know I said it already, but I'm telling y'all, I feel so honored and blessed that these women are in my network. Erikka Tiffani Wells is the co founder of Women of Color Automotive Network, a nonprofit established in 2020 and dedicated to providing resources and community needed to help minority women succeed in automotive. It's WOCAN, Women of Color Automotive Network. So if you're in the automotive industry, connect, become a member of WOCAM. Her automotive career began in 2005 working as a service writer for a small Napa Auto Care Center, You Save Auto Repair. In 2006, okay, listen to this because look, I am about auction cars, but when I saw this woman's bio, I was like, what? She does this? In 2006, she obtained her dealer's license as an independent and began flipping auction cars with her business partner. Over the course of her journey, she has been recognized as one of the peak performance achievers for Audi of America. That was in 2016. Awarded the Flo Kennedy Award by Real Women Atlanta magazine. That was in 2019. And nominated for the Rising and Community Excellence Rice Award for her contributions to women in the automotive field. She was also named one of the Automotive News 40 under 40. That was just last year, 2021. In many of these positions, Erikka was the only. And as a double minority, it became clear just how lonely it was at the top. Understanding the complexities of an unintentional bias and discrimination in the automotive industry, Erikka became passionate about changing the way women are viewed and treated in the automotive space. Her vision and passion for helping women consider non traditional careers to attain a higher level of success, both personally and professionally, is her motivation to making moves in the auto industry. Okay, look, I've been in the auto industry commercially for over 30 some years. Erikka Tiffani Wells didn't exist back then, but she does today. And I am so grateful for it. Welcome to Being Brown at Work Live, Erikka.
Thank you so much. What a warm welcome. And Linda, you've just been amazing. I've been so looking forward to having this conversation with you and to talk and just following all the amazing things that you're doing. So, congratulations and kudos to you. And thanks for having me.
It's an honor. It's a privilege. We're just going to jump right in because, as I said in the beginning, this is a topic I've not bridged, but it needs to be discussed. And when you and I had our discovery call, this is what just rose among the many things, obviously, we could talk about, given your career that started so many years ago, and really the nuances around it because it's a different side of the automotive industry, right? But because there is a lot of stuff and I'm just going to call it stuff, okay, that exists in the corporate space when you report to somebody that looks like you. So when you're a black or brown woman and you report to a black and brown woman, there are some unfortunate and fortunate things that exist. So Erikka, why don't you jump right in and share with me why this was something that was really near and dear to your heart to talk about?
Absolutely. Coming up into the automotive industry, there were so many times that there was people that didn't look like me. And as I continued to grow up into management, There was less and less African Americans and less African American women at the top. But prior to when I was working at the there, especially when the Business Development Center and the BDC, where we had a call center and all the incoming leads come in, there were a lot of Black women, and those were, they were single moms. They were getting hired because the pay made sense. There was a commission aspect to it, and one would come on, and then she'd refer a friend. And next thing we had a nice little community. But I noticed really quickly that there were challenges, and it was challenges because I was managing them, and then there was people managing me, and the stereotypes and the misconceptions that would come in, and the frustrations that would happen within this tribe and this sisterhood, and how we would try to relate to each other like sisters and friends. But then there was those times when I
Mm,
had to be the boss. And when I had to be the boss, they'd be like, "So why are you treating me like that? Where did this come from? And why are you
right.
treating me different? And why are you treating me harder? And why are you being angry with me? And you didn't treat her like that." Or there was just these
Yes.
complicated conversations that
Yes.
started to happen, and I had to challenge and look at myself and ask myself those questions. Am I being hard on her? Am I letting the stereotypes that people think resonate in my mind so that I'm being even more careful with you? um, and there was reasons why. A lot of times we don't get second chances, Linda. We don't get second chances in the political system. We don't get second chances in the civil system, whether it's in the medical system. Is so many different industries.
Any system. It doesn't matter the system, right, Erica? I mean, you just mentioned three, and you didn't even see corporate system. I mean, it doesn't matter the system. You're absolutely right. We don't get second chances. Go ahead.
No,
Yes.
and because of that, I found my desire to make sure that they won, to protect these women and say, "Hey, I want the best for you," causing me to treat them different. And I had to be
Mm,
realistic with myself, because at one point you want to have that, "I'm not treating you any different." And we have our own biases, right? I'm
sure.
not treating you
Yes.
any different. I'm just being tough. I'm being tough on everyone. But I would take her to the side and say, "Hey, listen, you can't be late. You know what they're gonna think about us if we're late. The CP time, color time, that's a joke here. But come on." But maybe somebody else in the department who was late, I'd be a little bit more forgiving. So why did I have this bias? Why am I not
Mm,
to my sister?
yes.
Because
Yes.
I
Yes.
see her and I say, I don't want them to look at you that differently, because they're going to give her a pass that I don't think they're going to give you. And I've heard these conversations from some of my bosses and my leaders, and saying, while one person can be late because they're going to go pick up their grandma is okay, but her leaving to pick up her kids is not okay. And the viewpoint they have on that is different. It has
Yes.
community.
Yes. And Erica, I think that's so important. This is why this conversation is so critical, because these are things that you are privy to, right? What leadership thinks, how they view things, that you're privy to, that the people reporting to you are not. They're thinking it's all about Erica.
Yep.
And Erica's unfair. And Erica is, look, I'm like her, I'm a sister. How come she's not giving me the? It's not even about that, right? It's the fact that you know what they're thinking and seeing because you've heard it, they've said it, they've articulated it. And it is to the benefit of the individual because I mean, systems are changing. Yes, they are. Slow, but slow, but they're changing, okay? But they haven't I mean, we don't have the 180. There is not a level playing field here.
Right.
Inclusivity doesn't exist right now. Equity, we are not, it's not there yet, right? So, equality, I should say. So, that is not there yet. And that is what you're trying to share right here to say, look, yeah, okay, you can't be late because that's the stereotype and you're walking in the stereotype. And I'm trying to articulate to you what they are saying. No, not what I think they're saying, what I know they're saying
I
and
know
thinking.
what you're saying.
What I know they're saying and thinking. Go ahead, Erica. I think that's what's so, the reason why I interrupted you is because I think it's so important for us as Black and Brown people to understand, especially Black and Brown women, get out of your own way. Don't think that just because your boss happens to be Black and Brown, that they are doing something that's against you. Now, I will say this, Eric, before you continue. Everybody that looks like us ain't us. I understand that.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not, okay, for those of you out there that's thinking, okay, Linda, you and Erica, look, y'all talking, but okay, yes, Erica recognizes it. I recognize that. Those are few and far between. I will say. Okay, I'm gonna say it's few and far between. They exist. That's true. However, above and beyond that, and even if you are in that situation, listen to what this woman is sharing with you, these nuggets, this experience, what she knows to be true. Because even if you're in that situation, you still need to rise above.
Right.
Continue, Erica. Yes.
No, you're right. And it becomes a trust factor. Who can I trust?
Yes.
What are
Yes.
conversations that I can trust you with? And a
Yes.
lot of times, what we will do is we will sacrifice our friendship with what we think is an ally, one of our own, to be able to rise.
Mm,
And so you think you're doing a favor by going to say something about me as your leader and as your boss, because you think that you're going to get favor outside of our organization or our community with the upper management by telling on me, by showing them the cards, by saying something. It was small things that would happen, but it would come in, and my boss would say, "Yeah, they threw you under the bus yesterday." And I was like, "What happened?" And he said, "I'd come in and, maybe I'd already texted my boss and said that, hey, I need to go do something with my kids and I'll be in at a certain time." But they'd come up to him and say, "Hey, where's Erica? She hasn't come in yet." Instead of just texting me and saying, "Hey, Erica, you haven't come in yet. I had a question about something." I had already told him, but I'd come back to my ladies. I'd say, "Ladies, guys, give me grace, right? Give me the same
yeah.
grace that you would want me to
Yes.
give you, because there's a lot of things that I don't take to upper management because it's between me and you, because we can handle it. They don't need to know all the struggles and the chaos and the
Yes.
things that you're going through, right? All they need to know that you're a dang good worker, you're going to do your job, and if you can do your 8-hour shift in 6 hours, I don't care when you get here." So he doesn't need to know, right? Because I'm taking care of you because I have your
Oh
back.
my
Give
gosh.
me that same grace. Have my
Yeah.
back that same way. Because when I come in, whether it's at 10 a.m. or 8 a.m., I'm going to deliver. And those are the bonds and the fundamental trust that we have to have as a tribe with each other. But a lot of times
Yes.
we're all competing for that same group, for that same, what's the word I'm looking for that same honor or that privilege of being accepted by people that don't look like us. I want to be
That's
accepted.
it.
So
I
because
want
I
to be
want to
accepted.
be accepted,
Yes.
I'm willing to
Yes.
sacrifice all those around me to be the one that's in with the good guys.
The crabs in the barrel mentality, right? Let me pull you down because I want to be seen. I want to be at the top of that barrel, right? I want people to see me. When everybody can eat, we all can raise to the top of the barrel. We all can
Right?
if we have the mentality that you're talking about, Erica,
And with
right?
too, absolutely, is since you've walked that path before. I talk about my girlfriend Carrie Wise. She's a co-founder of WOCAN with me. She's the chief
Mm,
marketing officer in the automotive industry at a Fortune 500 company. And when I see
mm,
her, I'm just so amazed and proud of who she is. And I look to her as a friend tour, is what I call it, a friend and a mentor. And one of the things I tell her when I watch her is that you climbed through windows so that I could walk through the doors. She's been doing this for 20 years in the automotive
Oh, wait,
space.
wait, 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 wait. I'm sorry. See these nuggets my guests drop? I have to repeat them. You climb through windows so I can walk through doors. Yes. Go
So
ahead. I'm sorry, Erica. Yes.
aware of my own privilege in this opportunity that I
Yes.
have in this space to be able to walk at the door and sit at the table that she couldn't get to, that she's
Yes.
trudged for 20 years to get there. So when she gives me advice, when she gives me feedback, when she tells me things that hurt my feelings, I have to remember that it's coming with 20 years of experience. And so she's coming from a place that I can trust her, even though I don't get it, even when it hurts, even when I don't understand. I have to believe that my sister has my best.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when I'm talking to my mentees and I'm reminding them that I've been where you've been, my girl, I have sat in your shoes. I know what it's like. I get the frustration. But if you walk out this office and slam the door and say you're not coming back to work and how mad you are, and you're going to write a letter, we're not going to get
Yeah.
where we need to be. We're not going to be
Absolutely.
able to rise up. I'm not going to be able to protect you from the things that could happen in the corporate America, in the automotive industry, or any industry.
Right.
Again, they don't give us that second chance all the time.
No, they don't, Erica. They don't. I mean, that was just, I mean, everything you just said, oh my gosh, resonated so much with me. And I know it landed with the audience as well. And I want everybody to really grasp that. I mean, these are when you have these situations and you've got a mentor or you've got someone you're reporting to or someone that's in the seat before you, they know they have dealt with the crap. I know I have, which is why I started being Brown at Work, the T, the extra effort, because I didn't want women that look like me to deal with I dealt with 30, 35 years ago, right? And that's exactly what Erica is talking about. So what we need to do is shift our mindset. It's not about targeting you. We're not about after you. We're about helping you. We're preventing you from making the same mistakes, from tripping over the same landmines, because they
Ooh,
can be landmines in
right.
your career. This is what we're about. So Erica, I mean, we're getting to the point now, and see, every time we do this, y'all, when I have these phenomenal guests, time just boop, flies, right? And so we're getting to the point where we're going to be closing this and wrapping this down. But what I always want to do is provide nuggets, actionable things, Erica, that our other fellow sisters, black and brown women, can do. If they're faced with some of the things we've talked about and they're not sure how to navigate it, right? What would you offer to them? What would be the 3 to 5 things, if not more, that you would offer to them?
One thing is that I would say is be authentic and be genuine.
Mm,
Misrepresent each other because we're not willing to tell our true selves and be authentic and tell our true stories. I think
mm,
a lot of times with professionals, we want to say leave home and leave your personal at home, and when you come to work, be at work. And it causes us as African American women, we already don't feel like we're being ourselves. We already feel like we have to leave our big personalities, our big hair, everything
yes,
that makes us at home,
yes,
right? And so what I want to
yes,
do is make sure that you feel safe and that you feel that you're in a position and a place to be yourself. And I want to be able to help you. And I want to be able to, we have to create that trust. So I need to know what's going on with you, and we need to be able to communicate. So one thing I would say is create a level of communication with your boss where you can be authentic, where you can talk to her as a friend and a sister. Respect her as your leader, though, right? Because
yes,
she has to
yes,
make tough decisions. And I know that you're telling me what's going on with at home or what's in your family, your personal life, and you may need some time off, or you need me to advocate for you for a raise, or you may need more money, and I'm going to have your back, right? But we have to be able to have trust where you tell me what's going on, allow me to assess that, package it the way it needs to be packaged, and then deliver that to my managers in a way that's going to be acceptable, right? Because
absolutely, Erica. And I want to pause for a second because I tell my audience, I tell my clients all the time, who you are personally is who you are professionally. Don't separate the two. And what Erica is just telling you is if you allow that piece of yourself, the personal side of yourself, to show up so you can be fully authentic, then bosses like Erica Wells can advocate for you when you need that advocacy. But when you're sitting around thinking, oh, I don't come to work to make friends, or I don't do that, and blah, 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 and it's none of my business, or they're trying to be nosy and all that other stuff that you bring, okay, mindset, right, that you bring into the workplace, then you're going to be where you are. Continue, Erica.
another thing I would say is let's be careful with the gossip, and let's be careful
Mm,
that we want to say and talk about each other, because
yes.
there's enough things that are bringing us down in this society. Outside influences, things that people have, the stereotypes, the bias, the racist comments, all those things are already out there and against us.
Mm,
Let's not create it in our own community. Let's not create it in
oh,
our own workplace, right? It's so easy
yes.
just to want to say something about someone because we think that we're giving the office tea and that we're talking down. But when you talk down on me, when you bring me down, when you bring your other sisters and brothers that work with you down, we're just suppressing the greatness that we have within us. And
Yes.
it causes them to look, they don't even like each other, right? They don't even get along with each other. So we have to get past that by closing my mouth. And I say, bring it to me. If you have a concern, you have an issue, please bring it to me. Allow me the opportunity to fix it. Allow me the
Yes.
opportunity to make it better and to make it right. Because a lot of times we don't give each other that chance because we're afraid. It's fear.
True.
What are you going to
True.
judge me? What are you going to say? What are you going to think?
True. Fear
So
based. Yes.
based,
Yes.
fear based.
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting now because a lot of the women and men that I worked with in the past that thought I was being hard on them looked back and came to me and said, "I appreciate everything that you."
Mm,
Right, I appreciated those
mm,
tough conversations because we'd go. I would not address things in a group setting, take them in the back and have a one-on-one conversation. I'd talk to them like my sister or brother, and I'd say, This is absolutely unacceptable. And I wouldn't do that out there because I don't want anybody to see me have this kind of conversation with you one on one. But it's because I love you. It's because
Yes.
I care about you. It's because I
Yes.
want more. And if you were my brother or my sister, I would want someone to come and tell me, right? I would want someone to come
Yes.
tell my family members, like I'm telling you, what it's going to take for you to win in this industry, right?
Yes.
It's going to take
Yes.
coming in. It's going to be to show up and to give 110%, right? And that if anything is going to stop you, it can't be your work ethic. You know, if anything is going to stop you, it's not going to be the things that everybody's saying about you because your work can speak for you. And that's what
Hmm.
I had to do. I don't care what everybody else is going to say or can she make it? Will she make it? They expect us to fail. They expect. I had a guy tell me, he said, "Well, I hired a black person once and it didn't work out," as if to say that that one person could have some type of
Speaks
representation
for
on the whole Black America because one time it didn't work out. Like I said, that's how people say I don't give a second chance because they say, well, yeah, it didn't work out. What does that mean? So if
right.
those stereotypes already exist, I'm
Right.
going to do everything in my power to make sure that you don't become that stereotype.
Yes.
But
Yes.
at the
Yes.
same time,
Yes.
when you do make bad choices, when I do have to have a hard conversation and say this position is not going to work out for you, don't come back to me and say it's because you're black. Don't come back and say it's
That's
because
exactly right.
I don't care about you or because I've bought into the system, right? Sometimes I've had to make really hard decisions to my own people because you were not a good employee. And that is the
Ex-
only reason why.
Bottom line,
That is
that's the
the
reason.
only reason why. And
That's
they looked
exactly right.
back later and came and said, you did me a favor. You did me a favor because I thought that because we had something that I could get a pass. And I said, if I give you that pass, when I'm gone, you ain't going to have that pass anymore. Right? So I'm trying to set
Yes.
you up to win. And I'll give you a few, like, coupons that you can turn in. But at some point, the coupons expire.
Expire.
So I got to prepare
Yes.
you for the real world. It's the same thing I do with my children. We came to
Yes.
Illinois, and it's a very small African American population. It's 4% here, right? And my son
Hmm.
is telling me how tough it is and how he wants to go to a neighboring school that has a higher African American population. And I told him, I said, son, this is the real world, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
need to learn these experiences, and you need to
That's
learn how to
right.
get around, get used to people who are around you who don't look like you,
Don't look like you. Yes.
because that's
I
real
sent
life.
my daughter to the same environment, educate,
Yeah.
same one.
And so
It-
when my employees that
yes.
work with me, I'm telling them, be glad that we're in an environment right now where there's a lot of us that look like each other. But as you continue to move up into other environments, it's not
Hmm.
going to be like
Not gonna
this.
be that way.
You're going to
That's
be
right.
looking for an ally. And if you haven't created the skill set to create the ally, because when I walk in a room, I'm looking for the other black people. I'm like, you, sister, I'm coming to sit at your table. I'm coming to eat with you. Right? I want to create a sisterhood and an ally.
Yes. Yes.
We're
Yes.
going to
Yes.
create community.
For
We're going to
sure.
share information together. We're going to bond. And that's why we created WOCAN. We actually created that Women of Color Automotive Network to be able to have an industry and a tribe of sisterhood
Yes.
around the country,
Yes.
of women in this industry who can be friends, share information, empower each other, talk about the hardships. And it has been such a beautiful thing. And
In a
we're
safe space. And
in a
you did it
safe,
in 2020 in a time that it was critically needed, right? That safe environment was needed. Yes.
absolutely. And so as I continue to work with my black and brown sisters and brothers, I am, I find it my duty to make sure that any experience that
Mm.
I've had coming up that I pass on and that I share the wins, I share the struggles, I share the challenges so that
Yeah.
they're better prepared for what's coming for them. And that hopefully it can be
Yes.
easy. And even though I walked through the door and Carrie went through the window,
Window.
we hope somebody else is going to be building the house.
There
And
we
if
go.
they're building the
There
house,
we go.
we're going to all eat, right? Because we ain't gonna have to
Yes.
come in because it's gonna be the cookout,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And we're all gonna
Oh, Erica, absolutely, absolutely. And that with your last words there, that's a beautiful way for us to close this. Absolutely. Went through the window, you came to the door. The next thing we're gonna build a house and we cooking out. Absolutely. Loved it, loved it, love it. So look, for those of you, Black and brown women, that's who we're servicing. That's the focus of these lives and my podcast. If you're catching this on the replay, please send us your comments. I would implore all of you to go Google WOCAN. If you're part of the automotive industry, frankly, I would tell you that whatever industry you're in, you're going to benefit
Mhm.
from being part of that tribe, part of that community. If you're a Black and brown woman, Erica, it has been Such a pleasure. I knew this time was going to fly like crazy.
It
It's
did.
been such a pleasure for sharing your experiences. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much, Linda.
Take care, everyone. Until next